All right, guys, welcome back. This is lesson one, and today we are just going to be looking at we're going to looking at the first few things that you really need to do to get started, and what it's going to be what it's going to take for you to build websites that look just like these. And these are websites that I have actually built for clients, um, all different sorts of websites, doing all various different things. And so we are going to have a look at that. And so hopefully, if you are here, it's because you have already finished the introduction, kind of understand what is required of you, and then we are going to dive in. So I hope you are ready. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to be looking at what is actually WordPress, and we're going to answer that question. So WordPress is actually just a content management system that allows you any type of all and any type of freedom, to be honest, depending on what type of content you want to manage and how you want to manage that content. So you could actually build anything and all sorts of things WordPress or using WordPress as the backend tool, and it also allows you various integrations and things. WordPress is also a free tool, so there are multiple people that contribute to the development of it every year, which allows us as average Joes to actually take advantage of something like this at an open source level to benefit us in a workspace. Alright, so that's kind of in essence what it is. If you are going to Google, you could find out a little bit more about it, how it works. But that's all I have to say about what WordPress is. So let's just jump straight into it. If you are building your own website and you are starting from extreme scratch, at least if you have a name for what you want to do, then you would want to create your own. The first thing is creating your own Google account. So if you don't want to be using your personal Google to do any of this work. You want to remain as professional as possible. So you want to separate everything from your personal to the workspace. So let's say this website is for yourself. You would be wanting to build a separate thing that says your business name at gmail.com, or your business name 2023 or 2025 at gmail.com, to ensure that that is something separate that gives you a complete new repository with Google that gives us the benefit of getting a fresh Google Drive of 15 gigs for free as well, without having to invest into heavy expenses to actually hold a repository of all our data, where we're going to be keeping our color schemes, our brand kit, the fonts, all those things, where we're keeping the email passwords, and those types of things. So it's also important, if you are going to be doing this for clients, that you keep that in mind, and that you also create a separate Gmail account for the client for the start fresh. If they have a Gmail already for the business, then perhaps you want to use that, but also consider the sensitivity of it, because you would have to have access to that Gmail in order for you to actually work freely. So sometimes the clients might be running sensitive payment documents and all of those things as well through their Gmail, and they might not want you to have that information. So always offer to create a new Gmail to run everything on, and then you can always present them with all the passwords and things afterwards, which is what we're going to be looking at, how we're building everything step by step as we build everything step by step. So with that being said, let's go over and let's just jump straight in. And let's say you have not created anything. You would have to come here, create, go to your Google Chrome. I use Google Chrome. Create a account by signing in, and then you would follow all the various steps as it is presented. It's important to use the real person's name, as well as using the person in charge of that you are communicating, if it's a client, or using your specific own details as a name, but use the business name as the email address, if that makes sense. So you'll say my business at gmail.com, but you would you would still say the name of the profile is your first name. So Nev would be my first name on this profile. So just so you know, so I've already done that for this website that we will be creating. It's going to be called PDF Everything. And the first thing you're going to want to do in Google is we are going to look at Access as the hosting company, and we are going to be looking at how do you set up the hosting. And then we are also going to be building a Google repository for where we can add all our information and things. Alright, so let's just go ahead and do that. Because I already have an Access account for other websites that I've built, obviously. I'm just going to log into my account. But it's going to be, you'll find in your SOP document that there will be a link in the document for you to click on, that you could actually go, and then it will show you a video on how you could actually register the account with Access. It's quite simple. It's like doing anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and log into my Access, and then we are going to take it from there. Back. So now that I've signed in, I'm going to be blurring some parts of the screen just so that you won't see my entire screen for all the sensitive documents and things, or numbers and things that's on there. You're going to navigate over to purchase, and you're going to go to WordPress hosting. This is how I do it on Access. You're going to use any other platform like AfriHost or whatever hosting service you have. You would have to kind of follow their way of finding the WordPress hosting, and that's kind of, you're just gonna have to do that, or you could just follow my every step here, and things could be much easier for yourself. So see, I'm searching for my website, the URL that I want to search. Boom, it's available, thank goodness. The price involved for the smallest packages is 109 Rand, and I currently have to pay 8 Rand right now immediately if I want to get started. So I'm going to add this to my cart. I'm going to proceed to checkout. Obviously, you're going to have to fill in a little bit more details here because I already have an account, and you're going to have to fill in a little bit more details. You might have to pay a little bit more, but your overall cost is going to be 109 Rand a month. I'm going to hit the proceed button, accept the terms and conditions, and while it's loading, they're going to thank me for my purchase, and they're going to start working on the back end. So now you'll see here, these are some of my other websites that are my personal ones, and here is the one that we just registered. So very important to note, now that we have registered our domain, this will take a few hours for the system, for those hosting companies, to actually register it on the registrar, and also put up all the necessary codes and things so that you can get access to the control panel. During that time, we are going to set up all of the other things that we can, so that we can be multitasking and making sure everything works as efficiently and smoothly as possible. So you have done what you can on the hosting end for now. We are going to wait a few minutes or hours, and they will email us all the necessary information as we need it. So in the Google Drive, I think what is important is you need to be creating specific folders that will actually help you navigate to all the necessary sections that you need, as well as the client. um, always take it that the client doesn't know how these things work, and that you need to spoon feed the client to get to where they need to be. They will always not know how to log in anywhere, and they'll always never know where their passwords are, and they'll never know what anything is. That's why you need to kind of make sure that the path is as smooth as possible. So the first thing we do is we are going to start by creating folders. The first folder will be the business information folder. It is important that the business information folder is also shared with someone external to this profile itself. So as soon as you have created it, you want to share this folder with either the person's personal email, or like I will do now, my personal email. So we'll be right back for that. Let me just pause here my screen. Okay, so now that you have given yourself or someone in the backend access, you know that no matter what, there will always be an account that can always access into here to get to the information. Inside here, we are going to create Google Drive, Google document sheets inside the business information folder. The first one we'll create, we'll label, let's wait for that to load a bit more. We'll label emails and passwords. Okay. So let's just say emails and information. Boom. The next one we'll create brand kit information. This is where we will be loading the color schemes of everything, which will be making it easier for us on the website building to not constantly have to go and grab and know what colors we need to use to make things like schematically look good. So let's see here, I'm following my SOPs. The next step says website artwork is the next folder we want to create. So we come back to the main drive section here, right click, new folder, website artwork. Okay, create the folder. Okay, you can come in here, you can say creating another folder. This will be website, images, and covers. So this is where you can upload all the logos and the background images. You can create another folder, and we can call this product images. This is where literally all the product images for the thing can go. And even if you wanted to, you can create a logo folder here. That way the logo is separated from the other website images and covers. Right. Let's see what other information and repositories can we build. We can probably build a product information folder. Okay. Inside here, this is where we want to say uh, you'll be creating, you'll ask the client in the product information folder to actually upload any documents about themselves, like that they would like to say, to create a story for you, and all of those things. That is, we would also want them. So you could create little folders inside the product information folder uh, to actually like section things, because sometimes a client has one product that is their main product, but then they that is their flagship and they're only doing one thing. So then the products information is also important to them, but the about section is a little bit going to be a little bit the same. So you could also then just put all that information in one section and then work from there. That's what I like to do. So what I'm going to do is your client specific info is a folder I'll create, so then they know they can upload. If they have client specific info in there, in the product folder, they can also upload it there. Those are the repositories. And here I have made a note that says these will ensure that the client can basically navigate like we mentioned earlier. Alright, so for now this is kind of where we're at, and during this time we can also use the benefit of Canva to actually go about setting up other things. We need to work on our workflow. Okay, so our Google Drive is set up. We have literally already gotten a domain, and now we are looking at the workflow. We need to site map and figure out how are we going to build this website. So not only do we need to understand exactly how it's going to look before we build it, we need to kind of have an overall picture of how we want things to flow and where we want things to go. So for me, to make it specifically simple, let's draw some shapes here, and we'll just take it from there. Okay. So each shape for now will represent uh, each shape at the moment represents a page. Where do I stroke? Here we go. Okay, so each square represents a page, and we are just going to, on the face value, going to start with the home page. What do we want the home page to look like? And what are the basic elements that the client wants, that I want for my product to have a home page? Let's go to other websites that I have built, and we are going to replicate this. We are going to look at the elements here quickly, and we are going to simplify it for ourselves so that we understand the workflow that we need to create when we have to create it. So we can obviously see there's a logo in the corner. There are menu options here on the right hand side. We have a title that says building websites with a little bit of extra text at the bottom, and one button that says building websites. So we can see here that this takes us to the course that we need now, obviously, to sell to the public. And this is where we are going to exactly like directly send out traffic. If people want to find out more about us, they can go and check on top that says about the contact. If they want to perhaps first ask a question, there's a contact form, so we're going to be looking at that, but this is where that is. And then we see here's also a shipping button, and then there is some extra text at the bottom as well. All right, so we can go at another website. It's kind of, this is the exact same thing for a different client, of course. The logo, the about, the shop, because they have more than one product. They have the cart option here, a contact form option, then the name once again with a little bit of text, and a button that links to it to the shop. As you can see at the bottom right hand corner. Ooh, yeah, no. If you look at the bottom right hand corner of my screen, you will see that it says Livono live.co.za/shop. That is also redirecting. So if you click on there, it's going to take you to the shop page. This is where we want people to go mainly, and a little bit of text, and they also have the thing here. You go to our other page, we got the logo up here. Tionali's got the story. Work together, which is also similar to an about and a donate page, because this is more of a fundraising page. So here you'll see we have a little bit more on the home page. So we will be looking at this as well if you want, on how to build things that look similar to this, as well as this. And then there are different various options you can do. Just another option of what you want to actually like map out on the sitemap, and make sure you know I want to have a heading here, some text here that is re-linked together with different options. There needs to be an image on the left hand side, a small text to the right hand side, a button that leads somewhere. You want to we are going to kind of be looking at that. This one has a map that's integrated at the bottom of the service as well. So we're going to be looking at how do you want to build that, and how does PDF everything needs to look like. So for me, quite simple. We are going to go with the Lavona Life approach. So I'm just going to close the rest here, and the building website approach, because that's going to be the simplest form of doing things. So what I'm going to be doing is just finding little text boxes for myself. Okay. And up here, we're going to say there needs to be a logo. Boom. Duplicate it. We say here will be menus. And look how simple I'm making this. I'm just writing the main thing that we're going to need, where we're going to need it. We don't need it to look a specific way or anything. Let's just duplicate that. We'll put it up here. It's the home page. Okay. Home page. We are going to want duplicate. We're going to want title, and we'll have a title, and what else we're going to have? subtext, a little bit of subtext, and we're gonna have a button. Okay, that's what we want to have, and then we also just want to make note needs a static background. Okay, and what else do we need? Let's go here. Got the logo, menus, the button up. We need the cart option. And we want the cart option. Okay, so now that we got this basic sitemap built, we need to understand where do we want our button to go to. Okay, our button wants to go to various pages. That's fine. What kind of pages are we going to have? We are going to have, let's think, a page where the button goes to, and we are going to have a page that says contact us. Let's put it over here. And we're probably going to have an about page. And let's see where we can put that over here. Okay. So these are the 4 basic pages. You'll have a home page. This will be our store, or whatever it is. This is what we're going to have. Remember, you need to now apply this to yourself. Contact, because we want people to contact us, so we need a page for that. And then we're also going to create an about page. People can learn more about what about PDF, everything a website is going to be about, naturally. So let's see. All right, we are going to say this button needs to lead to the shop, right? So let's just get let's get an arrow element out of this here. Platform, we'll select close to the button. I will go to the store. That way we know what we want and what there needs to be, or the direction of the flow of everything at least. So at the store, we know that we're going to want to have, let's just, here on top once again, there'll be menu options, there'll be a logo. Those are standard, but let's always remind ourselves of those things. Then we're going to have this as a standard across every page, makes it easier for us. We are going to have then also now product display. We'll put it in the center, that way we know, and we'll remind ourselves that we need a static background here. Okay. When we click on the logo, believe it or not, just make it smaller. It should take us to the home page. So if you have your logo that's pointing to your home page, You might want to send people around. I'm not sure, depending on the type of product that there is or whether it doesn't exist. But you could also have, literally, for example, we could just say, for example, we'll build it into the site, but we want to have a contact us for a year, so that, let's say, people want to, maybe they have a request for specific PDFs that they'll want to then create, and they can connect with us directly. Or they want to learn more about how we build these, or they want to just learn more, we could just have that there. So then, just to have a little bit more arrows and showing how we can direct the traffic, you know, you could have the contact form or the contact us go that way. Let's position this correctly. And that's doesn't look terrible. Go. So we know that's running manually. Um, and then let's duplicate that, and then learn more can take us always to the about page. So then at least you have people directed into various directions onto the site. So let's just have a quick look at the contact form. For me, you can even just go to specific people's contact forms. You'll see on our building websites, it's quite simple. I like to keep it simple, stupid. That's what I believe in. So let's see what elements do we have here. Obviously, once again, we have menu options, the logo. If you click on the logo, you can see in the bottom right hand corner, it takes you to the website, back to the home page. We got a little quiz title here, some small text, and the form. Very simple. So then let's just build that. We got the logo on the page. Boom. Select logo. We had menu options. We had a title, like such. We had some subtext underneath the title, like this. And then we had a form right next to it, like that. Boom. And then we just need to remind ourselves that we need to put a static background, and look there, we got the button as well. We don't need to remind ourselves about that actually, because it's a plugin, but we'll just put it there so that it stays there. And then let's just have a look. I got the exact same thing, right? Text, title, little small text, form, boom. Nothing special, guys. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how we're building that in a little bit. Let me just make this bigger so that they kind of be equal to each other in terms of importance. Okay. Then let's have a look at the about page. Let's look at the elements and let's just map things out so that we know more or less what we want. It's one static page of the about, and guess what? There is a button on this. So you have just a bunch of subtext, and we actually had a button, and we have the logo, of course, menu options, and card options. And let's remind ourselves that we need a static background. And we'll see why later on this is important, because you can always come back and scratch these things there to make sure that all the elements are on your page as you need it to be. Um, Obviously, this form, we are going to look at that later on. But in a sense, this form will be going to your network marketing tools or your email marketing tools so that you can actually communicate with people directly. This button here, let's see, on what do they have on there about? I can't even remember. Oh, look, it's the exact same thing. That little title. this one doesn't have a title, so we can add that as well. Let's add that. It's title, subtext, and that's a button. Where does this button go to? Anybody want to take a guess? The button goes to the shop page. Okay, so the button goes back to the store. As you can see in the bottom right here, it goes to the shop. Even with us, it goes back to building the course. So that's what we are going, that's what you're always going to be aiming for. Okay, once again, you can remind yourself the logo will always sitemap you back to the home page. Yeah, and that's about it, guys. Now at least you have your sitemap built to a degree where when you're gonna start building, you can always come back to this and make sure, hey, do I have what I need? Are the elements in place? Yes, all the elements are in place. So, and just like that, when we come back, it will be a few hours later, and we would have then solved the installing of, we'll be looking at how to install the WordPress, um, and then we're going to start building from there. We are literally going to follow the instructions on the standard operating procedure. We have literally finished step 2 now, and a little bit extra. We are going to be looking at step 3, which is the control panel, how to install the WordPress actually, how to do the certification for the website to make sure it's secure so that you can run payments on there. And then we are going to be installing plugins and setting up emails and all the fun things. So guess what? After lesson 1, you are ready to go and start doing things. So lesson 2 is where the fun's at. Thanks for still being here, and let's get started.